At 65, life has taken on a new clarity. For much of my life, I was the person who always showed up. For friends, family, co-workers, neighbors, I gave my time, my energy, and my heart. I believed, like many of us do, that connection meant availability, that showing love meant saying yes. But something shifted over the past few years, and that shift changed everything. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please hit the like button to support the channel and help me continue sharing meaningful lessons for aging well. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. I started saying no, not because I stopped caring, but because I finally understood the value of protecting my peace. What began as a quiet instinct has grown into a philosophy. Not every connection is worth maintaining, and solitude is not a failure. It is freedom. In this chapter of my life, I avoid people not out of bitterness, but because I choose presence, purpose, and peace over obligation and noise. Time feels more precious than ever. There is something about crossing the threshold into your 60s that redefines your relationship with time. It becomes less of an endless horizon and more of a sacred resource. In youth, time is spent casually, as if it will always replenish. We engage in conversations that lead nowhere, attend events out of guilt, and invest in relationships that don't truly serve us. We confuse busyness with importance. Now time feels holy. I savor my mornings. A cup of tea on the porch carries more joy than a room full of chatter. I've learned that every minute spent on something meaningless is a minute stolen from what truly matters. So I began to protect my time fiercely. I stopped answering every call, attending every gathering, or forcing conversations that drained me. Instead, I reserved my energy for moments of real connection. It's not about rejecting people. It's about honoring the life I have left. I want to give my presence to those who value it and spend my time in ways that make my heart feel full. That is how time becomes a companion, not a thief. Relationships change, and so do we. When I was younger, I believed that every relationship needed saving, that effort, loyalty, and unconditional support would always be enough. And while those values still live in me, I now see relationships with clearer eyes. Some connections grow with you. Others were meant for a season. I've outgrown relationships that once defined me. Friends I no longer recognize. Family who bring more stress than support. I used to take that personally. Now I understand that people evolve, and sometimes they evolve in different directions. Letting go isn't failure, it's growth. Today I hold space only for relationships that feel mutual, where love is exchanged, not extracted, where support flows both ways. My circle is smaller now, but it's rooted in authenticity. I no longer chase connection. I welcome it when it feels right. Trust becomes more complex. Trust is delicate. In our youth, we hand it out like flyers. We want to believe the best in people. I was no different. I trusted easily, gave fully, and learned the hard way that not everyone deserved it. Betrayals leave marks. Broken promises linger. And as I grew older, I realized that trust isn't something to give lightly. It's something to build slowly. I became more discerning, not guarded, but selective. I began to listen more closely to my intuition. If something felt wrong, I stepped back. And in doing so, I discovered that the most important trust is self-trust. Believing in my ability to discern, to protect my boundaries, and to walk away when needed. I don't trust less now. I just trust smarter. The world has changed, and so have I. There's no denying that the world is faster, louder, and more complex than it used to be. Conversations are shorter, connections more digital, and time with loved ones often limited to screens and texts. While technology has brought convenience, it has also created distance. I miss the days when relationships were slower and richer, when neighbors dropped by unannounced for a chat, when family meals stretched for hours. Now everything is scheduled, filtered, and fleeting. So I choose to step back from the noise. I turn off my phone more often. I write letters. I take long walks. I water my plants. I make space for presence. This isn't resistance to modern life. It's an embrace of timeless values, of stillness, of attention, of joy found in simplicity. Solitude isn't loneliness. One of the greatest misconceptions about aging is that being alone is a problem. But solitude has become one of the greatest gifts of my life. In the quiet, I find clarity. I reflect. I breathe. I remember who I am without the world's voices drowning me out. Solitude is not absence. It is presence with oneself. And it has taught me that I don't need to be surrounded to feel full. I need to be grounded. I need to be at peace with my own company. This time alone helps me show up better when I am with others. It has deepened my appreciation for real connection, and it has removed the pressure to perform in relationships. When I choose solitude, it's not because I lack companionship. It's because I respect my need for wholeness. Why I avoid people now. Over the years, I've learned that not every relationship is meant to last, and not every social obligation deserves my time. Avoiding people is not about anger or bitterness. It's about clarity. I avoid drama. I avoid gossip. I avoid spaces where I feel small. I avoid people who drain me, who don't listen, who never ask how I'm doing. Instead, I seek peace. I seek honesty. I seek calm. And yes, that means saying no more often. Choosing not to explain myself. Releasing guilt. I still love deeply. I still care. But I do it differently now. I invest where there is mutuality, where respect exists, where love feels light. This is a shared experience. I used to wonder if I was alone in this journey, if others felt the same disconnection or fatigue. But as I speak to more people my age, I realize that this is not just my story. It's a shared evolution. Many of us are simplifying our lives, choosing depth over noise, letting go of what no longer serves. This isn't giving up. It's growing up. It's learning that fewer, deeper connections bring more joy than a crowd ever could. If you felt this too, know that you're not alone. You're just awakening to what matters, and that awakening is a gift. Embracing this chapter of life. This stage of life is not about endings. It's about beginnings. It's a chance to rediscover ourselves, to realign with our values, and to write a new chapter with intention. I no longer live to prove anything. I live to enjoy. I savor the little things. A warm meal, a beautiful sky, a shared laugh. I reflect, I forgive, and I let go. Not because I'm giving up, but because I'm making room for what feels real. In this chapter, I give myself permission to rest, to create, to heal, to explore. I don't need a crowded room to feel alive. I need truth. I need beauty. I need peace. In closing, avoiding people at this age is not about shutting the world out. It's about choosing what lets the light in. It's about protecting the joy I've earned and preserving the peace I've fought for. If you're feeling the same, trust it. You're not pulling away from life. You're pulling closer to yourself. And that's the most beautiful connection you can ever make. Here's to choosing peace, to loving deeply, and to living honestly. Here's to the freedom that comes with age, and the wisdom to know what's worth holding on to. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. May you continue to walk forward with grace, strength, and quiet joy.